Hi guys, it's Danny. Okay, a while back I made a video in which I wanted to make an interview with Volker from Schwerter Orchids, the place where I usually buy my orchids from. So I asked you guys if you had questions for a nursery to post them in the comments. Well, it took kinda long for me and I'm sorry for that, but today we have the interview with Volker, so I hope you will enjoy this. I compiled a list of 17 questions that you guys suggested, so I hope this will answer your questions. So the first and most obvious question is, how did you start the nursery? What goals and expectations did you have? We took it over from our parents. They started with orchids in around 1964. Before this, the nursery was run by my grandfather and produced everything which could be sold for money, like vegetable plants in the war, for example. My brother learned about plants and orchids for 3 years in another nursery. I was a businessman with my own company at University for Geology Studies when my brother took over the nursery. Because he did not know a lot about business, but more about plants, he asked me if I could help him with the business for a year or so. I did, and now I am in this business for about 25 years. When we started, we realized it wasn't easy to earn a living from this business. Today, our families can have a good life from the nursery, but we are working together with our wives 7 days a week, and sometimes we wish we'd have an easier job. Today, we just hope that the business keeps running till we cannot work anymore, maybe in about 10 to 15 years. How do you water your orchids? Normally by hand with a hose. Sometimes we use an automated watering system, which we have in all greenhouses, but we recognize that it is better to see all your plants once a week to spot problems as soon as possible. Do you use tap water or a special type of water? We normally use rainwater. We have a reserve of 80,000 liters of rainwater, but when it is finished, we use tap water with fertilizer and chlorine dioxide. A little comment here, I'm not sure exactly how to translate this chemical compound. I hope I did a good job in English, but if I'm mistaken and I just said a very poisonous toxin, I'm sorry. How do you maintain high humidity? It is not such a big problem to get high humidity, but it is a problem when humidity gets higher than 65 or 70%. Then you get problems with plant disease, and so we have to get the humidity down. The only way is to open up the windows, even in winter, and so you can expect that it is very expensive because all of the heat is going away as well. Best instance is when humidity is around 60 or 70%. What types of fertilizers do you use? Do you use bloom boosters to induce blooming? We use Peter's Excel Calcium Magnesium Grower, or Vuxel, and you guys have the links towards these products in the description. We do not use any bloom boosters. I'd like to make a comment here. One of my viewers from Poland actually recommended me the Peter's Excel fertilizers, and I was really interested in it, especially because it is a powder form, it has some nice concentrations, and it's more economical, obviously. So next year, I really want to use these fertilizers, especially since Volker is the second person who uses this fertilizer, and I think they use them for good reason. At what stage do you think an orchid cannot be sold anymore due to sickness? I think it isn't a good idea to sell a sick plant. No problem with some damaged leaves, but it must be free of pests, and customers have to know what they buy. We always write in the product description if there are any damaged leaves from import or if plants are freshly repotted and without roots or other problems. Do you repot orchids? How do you manage this at a large scale? Yes, we do. Daily, we have 2 or 4 people repotting plants. It is a lot of work to repot the whole nursery every 1 to 2 years. I think we have about 350,000 plants in all sizes in our nursery. How do you prevent infestations with pests and virus? We have a chlorine dioxide mixer, which we always use when watering the plants to prevent bacteria, like in public swimming pools. We have different animal beneficial organisms, such as the Australian cockchafer. I'm sorry for pronouncing this wrong, I'm pretty sure he means the Australian beetle. This prevents mealybugs and other pests. We bring them in our nursery every 4 weeks. When we find any animal pests, plants are thrown away directly, and the whole table or greenhouse is treated against it. Preventively, we spray the whole nursery 4 times a year with a combination of the following products you see on the screen. How much staff do you have that takes care of the nursery? We have 6 people who work only in the sales department, and you guys have the Facebook link in the description. We have 2 people who only work in the office, and we have 6 people who only work in the nursery. Do you practice forcing the bloom period like other mass production nurseries? No, we do nothing at all. No special fertilizer, no temperature changes, no extra light, etc. for blooming. What is the most annoying disease or pest you ever encountered, and how did you manage it? The biggest problem for us are the mealybugs, which we often get from other nurseries when we buy or import plants from them. To manage them, you need to have enough money, manpower, and chemical poisons. Also, you need to have a very clean nursery, regularly repot plants, you need to throw away the plants that are infected, and so on. Most nurseries I know do not have this possibility, and so it is always risky to buy orchids from them. Where do your orchids come from? From all over the world. Most imports come from Thailand and Taiwan, but also from South Africa, Philippines, Malaysia, Indonesia, USA, Middle and South America. A lot of plants come from laboratories in Germany, England, and the Netherlands. Because we do not have our own laboratory, we had one in the past. We only make the crosses ourselves and give them to good laboratories to breed them for us. What are the difficulties you encounter when sending orchids abroad? There are a lot of problems by sending orchids. It is too cold or too hot, transport companies work too slow, customers have other expectations and are not satisfied with the delivered plants, oftentimes because they do not read the article descriptions, which are available only in German. Customers complain about orchids after repotting them or months after we have delivered them. A big problem is also the internet itself. Blogs, forums, websites, because people can write whatever they want. Even if they do not write the truth, you cannot do anything against it. So some people even try to blackmail us to get money back or new plants. Sometimes people order really difficult plants and complain when they do not grow, for example the ghost orchid, difficult paths or phragmipediums. Sometimes they order plants which lose their leaves in the winter rest and they complain about that. Sometimes even packing is very difficult because customers order plants together with very heavy goods, like pine bark or other products. The list could be much longer, but for now it's enough. Do you have a laboratory in your nursery? Have you created your own crosses? And if so, how many have you registered? No, we sold our laboratory to Orchideenzucht years ago. We created crosses, but we did not register them for a long time. Some are registered by people who work in our nursery or by customers who asked us if we allow this. About 20 or 40 years ago, we registered a lot of Phalaenopsis crosses, but really, what for these days? I'll make a little commentary here. If you've ever visited orchidnature.com, which is my website, and if you've ever visited the identification sheets that I created, you'll see that I always credit the creators and the people who register the crosses. I know we sometimes forget about them, but think about it. These orchids you have are in your growing space because people invested time, money, and energy to create them, so they should be mentioned and they should have a place in history, at least in this little part of history. That's what I think, and I will always credit the creators. Do you participate in orchid shows? No, not for the last 6 years, and we also do not plan to do this. Do you travel often abroad to meet other breeders and purchase interesting specimens from other continents? No, not too often. We do not have so much time. Maybe every 2 to 3 years we visit some nurseries on other continents, but most of them we already know. For us, it is much more important to have very good agents in the important orchid countries who travel through the nurseries and offer interesting plants to us whenever they find something new. What orchids do you grow that you are especially proud of? At the moment, we are working on a very interesting hybrid between Dendrobium cuthbertsoni and Dendrobium sulawensis. I really hope I'm pronouncing this correctly. Very nice, long-lasting flowers, low-temperature tolerant plants which are fast-growing. But also other crosses seem to be interesting. Also, we try to make some meristem of very nice and expensive Phalaenopsis orchids so that we can offer them for a reasonable price, like Phalaenopsis Joyspring, Tina Anaconda, and others. And personally, I like very much the cross of Encyclia Mariae and Citrina, and you guys have the links towards this cross in the description. Very nice and big flowers for such a small plant. Okay guys, this was the interview. I hope you found it interesting and I hope your question was featured in this video. Now you know a thing or two about how an orchid nursery runs, the problems you can encounter, but also it's safe to say that if a nursery keeps going, there is something there. There is passion, and of course, it can offer a decent living. So Volker, thank you so much for answering our questions, and I really wish you the best of luck. And even if you can't work anymore, I hope you find the people worthy to take care of the nursery further on, because we will always need beautiful orchids. So thank you for watching this video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, give it a thumbs up and a share. Subscribe to my channel for daily orchid videos. And if you have questions or suggestions for other videos, just leave me a comment down below and I'll get back to you. If you click on the left side of your screen, you'll be directed to orchidnature.com, where you'll find care sheets, identification sheets, and also you can talk to us in the forum section. And on the right side of your screen, you can click to watch another orchid video. Thank you for joining. I'll see you next time. Have a great weekend. Bye!